Welcome everyone to another episode of the Parisi Podcast. We are on site with a much prettier background. By far the best background we've had. Normally we're in like gym offices or in my training studio with a cable machine behind us. We are in lovely Richmond, Vermont at BIVO. I'm saying that right?
Yep,
BIVO.
nailed it.
Which I'll let our guest Lily explain what that is and who she is here in a minute. Thank you for joining us. We have our lovely guest Lily here today at your house, your place. Welcome.
Thank you.
I can't believe. What did you think? As I reached out to the BIVO website, I said,
Yeah.
"Hi, this is for Lily McCabe. I met her, and I'm wondering if she wants to come on the podcast. Get this message, get to her, and then you got it."
I did.
Were you like, "Holy smokes, who's this random guy?"
Well, Caitlin, who receives all our customer service emails, she's awesome. She's like, Lily, I have an email for you.
Yeah,
she was like,
oh,
somebody
yeah.
wants you on their podcast.
Yeah.
And I remembered who you were immediately. We chatted for a while.
Yeah, so I was following you, and I actually there was another fellow running with us who was asking you. He worked in Waterbury, and he was like, you were telling him about what you do and this and that. And I was like, that's really cool. I think that would be a really cool episode to talk. And plus, like, I just thought you were like an all-time vibes. Like the conversation, like you were having conversations with us, and it was good because there's nothing worse than listening or watching a podcast with people that the conversation's just like watching paint dry. So I love that too. But let's start with this. This is the first question I ask everyone. Who are you? What do you do? Mm-hmm. How do you do it? / why do you do it? Okay. And we'll go from there.
Cool. Well, I'm Lily McCabe. I am the event specialist at BIVO. So BIVO, for those who don't know, they made the first metal cycling bottle. So it's a stainless steel bottle designed to fit right in bike cages. And so as the event specialist, kind of how the role started was like going around to different bike industry events primarily. So there was someone who was in that role before me and kind of started figuring out what some of the like best events are to go to, and we have a booth and we sell and we get to meet all these different cyclists. So as I came in, it was like looking at the event calendar for the year and planning that, and then the community part started coming into it more locally after I started. We started a run club, and we do bike rides, and then did things like the BIVO Bash. So a lot of events, a lot of time with people at events, whether it's ones that we're planning or not, which is so much fun. And I came to BIVO because I love working in the outdoor industry. I really love to bike, I love to run, and it's like this team is so awesome. It's a small team of people who all have to do the same thing, so we get to like run and bike and do all of that together, which is really great.
And we'll get to your background in it because I thought that was super cool too. But what really stood out to me was like events coordinator. Mm-hmm. What's the title?
Specialist.
Mm-hmm. Because when I went to BIVO Bash, mm-hmm. I had never been a part of anything. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, your run club is like right when I work in the morning, so I could never make it. Mm-hmm. But I was able to do this BIVO Bash with the trail run, and there was 300 plus people. Like there was a lot.
We don't actually know how many people
there was a lot of people.
The main things that we know is there was pizza that was shareable, and they sold out of like the 75 pizzas, and we had like a minimum with the ice cream person if like we would cover the gap if they didn't sell over 100 ice creams, and over 100 ice creams sold, which was great.
There was, I felt like I needed to go buy a mountain bike because there was the trail running group was like 30 people probably, and that's a conservative number, and then everyone else was like biking.
Yeah,
and it was
so
just
many gravel and mountain bikers.
All bikes, and it really stood out to me this element of community, because I think a lot of times this is a performance podcast. We all work in gyms and this new era of fitness. Mm-hmm. Fitness is incredibly social, and I think that the BIVO Bash really epitomized that. Of yes, we're here with this communal brand, and there's different things going on, but everyone came together around fitness, and it's a product based around fitness and performance. Mm-hmm. And this is just from the outside looking in, and hopefully this is intended to be a compliment. Like you made it more about like the community, and I feel gyms want that.
Yeah.
Right? Like I run a one-on-one private training studio. It's not community. It's like two people in a room. Yeah. Right? So I'm so jealous of gyms that have that recreational club feel or run club feel or just kind of third home feel. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, is that something that when you came here to BIVO, was that something that you felt? Was it something you aspired to bring? Like what were things that you, when you started, or maybe you've grown into, as you've evolved in this position, that you found with the community element really seeming to come first?
Yeah, I think so. Our founders, Robbie and Karina, are husband and wife, and they founded BIVO together. And I think they created a really amazing foundation for it. They have an awesome community, and like the people they surround themselves by, and the connections that they've made in Richmond and then with other brands as well. So when I came into BIVO, there was the idea of starting a run club, and they had actually done it a little bit in the past. So we started in December, so like 7 a.m. on a morning in December. So like really cold. So only really dedicated people are coming out to it. But one thing that Karina thought about it that I was like, that is a really funny way to like flip it and think about it is she's like, I think this is when people like really like need it, really are looking for things to do. And it did turn out to be true. So like people kept coming and we like did it month after month. And then as I was learning more about BIVO and the community that BIVO already has, I was like, oh, they have friends that have a pop-up sourdough pizza company, and we are connected with cool brands like Untapped, and we're connected to all these amazing athletes in the Richmond community because there's so many. And it was like, I feel like my role in it was just realizing that we have all these connections and being like, we're so lucky, like, let's just bring it all together in one place. So that was kind of what the idea of the BIVO Bash. And our whole team loves to run, gravel ride, mountain bike. So we all do those activities together so we could kind of like divide and conquer leading those. And that was one thing that we realized after. We didn't really think about it that much before, but that was something that was unique about it is people, a lot of the times those activities get siloed and like people go to a mountain bike event or people go to a gravel event and like they don't always come together, especially with trail running involved too. So that was something that was like a really great surprise about it. So that was one thing that was really exciting for me, was just to like bring all those together. But I think the base that Robbie and Karina and the rest of the team has created really set me up for success with it. And same with events, like I'll go to an event and people come up to the BIVO booth and they're like, oh, I've met Robbie and Karina, or like they're like, oh, this person from this brand that we've worked with is here. And it's just, I feel like everyone's really good at connecting those dots, and just like we can all be so much stronger together if we like come together for things. So yeah.
So that's, I want to kind of, I know I like sent you a bunch of questions and I feel like we're already like off the topic of the questions, which shout out to Lily because she asked, you know, like, hey, like, what do you want to talk about? And I'm like, I can provide questions, but honestly, the conversation just starts and we just go. And, you know, people sometimes are like, I've had people not want to come on a podcast because they're like, I want to stick to the script. I want this. I'm like, well, it's a conversation about things, like it's about you, right? And the things that you do. So I tell people it should be a bunch of layups and softballs or just kind of thought-forming questions. But do you think when it comes to building a community relations, integrating your services or product to the community, do you think, like, because you mentioned something that kind of stood out, like you seem like you were like the glue, where you're like, we have Untapped and we have BIVO and we have the pizza place, and you kind of like bring them together. Like it's like Lily is like this role and this glue, this idea of building a community. I just hit my step goal sitting down. It's insane. It's insane.
So much
that's I know. It's really sus garbage. I know you're in a lawsuit with Strava right now, but this is probably a strike against you. Totally threw me off. But do you think brands trying to build a community should look at themselves as this like glue with multiple different things? Like, was that unintentional? Is that intentional? Like, how do you go about integrating like brand community? Like, how do you go about it? Your own thoughts on it?
Yeah, I feel like my perception of it was just that like we're so lucky to have this platform, and like we had started the Strava Club, and people kept joining, and whenever we would do things, it was like, it seems like people really want this, and that was something that just kind of kept revealing itself. And like if it were just me as an individual person, it's so much harder to reach all of those people and like plan something like that, or even to just plan like a run club. And like if it's me as an individual, I'm not going to have nearly as much reach. But like at BIVO, we have this awesome team, and they're connected to so many people, and then as BIVO, and as a company, we have a really great platform where like people follow us because they love the product or because they're interested in it. So I just feel like it's such a unique opportunity, and I think that our whole team is really excited to capitalize on that. And community is really important to everyone here, and Richmond is a really community-focused place. Like, we're so fortunate to have places like Cochrane's to be able to host events. So I feel like I just feel really fortunate in it, and that we might as well capitalize on it, because it's like you want that to be happening. You want people to be organizing these events. So we're like, we have all these resources to do it. So
we took action, because that's, I mean, there's one of my favorite quotes is there's no shortage of people in this world who will take action. Or I'm sorry, there is a huge shortage of people who will take action in this world, because everyone talks about wanting to do it, but no one really does it. So that's why I wanted to spend some time talking about it, because I know a lot of gyms and gyms that I have worked with and consulted for will say like, oh, well, like we want to dominate our own four walls first, our own four walls. We want to take care of our own four walls. But then they also say in the next sentence, we want to be part of the community. We want to be a community resource. We want to be integrated into the community. I'm like, well, you can't have both. You can't say I want to live in my own four walls, but then also say you want to be a part of the town, the community, whatever it might be. And that's what I'm hoping people will get from this podcast is these little nuggets of taking action, realizing who you have in the area, leveraging all of them, and then people want it. I think that's something that really is undervalued. Like we all say like, oh, we think our clients want it, or we think our population wants it. Well, do you know? Like you said, people were planning for it. People were saying like, we like this, we want more of this, we enjoy this. The run clubs growth them out. I mean, there was so many people with their whole families, dogs, and little kids. Like it was, and coming from all over too. It wasn't just, it happened in Richmond. There was people who drove 45 minutes. I remember the guy from like Enosburg. I was like, brother, you just drove 75 minutes for like an hour long run.
I had that moment too. I was like, oh, you really committed to this.
You made this a part of it. But that speaks to the power of community, right? That's what we all want. That's why I feel like you're like, we just have this and it's this and that. It's like, no, it's huge. What you have is huge. From your time before BIVO, because you moved here from out west, did you work in marketing and events and different things before, or did you how did you find BIVO?
Yeah, so events have become like kind of unintentionally, but a little bit of a theme. So I'm from New England originally, and then had moved to Denver after college. And when I was at UVM, I had like an event production internship that they put on like these big like food and drink festivals all over. Cool. And that was actually a really fun team. It was like women-led, really small team putting on these massive events. So that was like, I remember going to an event and like working the event for the day. I was like, wow, that is like the hardest I've ever worked. But they are so rewarding. Like you do so much work before and it's just crazy when it's happening. But then you do like see it all going on. Like I remember sitting at the bash and being like, what is so special? Like being able to just watch it all unfold. So that was kind of my first intro to events. And then when I was living in Colorado, well, actually, after graduating was when I started getting into biking. One of my friends worked with Little Bellas, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with.
I've heard of it,
So it's actually also based in Richmond, and it's mentoring young girls on mountain bikes. So my friend had taught me how to mountain bike, and then I became a Little Bellas mentor, so then had gotten into cycling, and I was like, oh, the outdoor industry is really awesome. And I had gotten more into hiking at that point, and just into, like, I liked being outside. So then when I moved to Colorado, I was looking to be in the outdoor industry in some capacity, and I ended up working at a place called People for Bikes, which is the Bicycle Trade Association for the US, and they do a lot of work with like getting more bike infrastructure around the country and policy around bikes, and also just getting more people riding. And there my role also ended up having kind of a bit of an events focus, but more for that team. It was a team of probably around 36 people at that time, and we would plan like all staff gatherings for all of us to get together, or do things with our team in the office, or planning like a board meeting and things like that. But I still had some of that planning aspect, but not as much for like the larger community, more internal, like you were saying, within the four walls. And then I moved to Vermont and wasn't super actively looking for a job at the time. A friend sent me the BIVO job, and I was like, for the event specialist role, and I was like, oh, that would be awesome. And at that point, I wasn't working in the outdoor industry anymore. And I was like, I would really love to be back in the outdoor industry. I like being in the cycling world, and this just seems like such an exciting place to work. So I ended up interviewing for that like right after I moved here.
Preparation and opportunity collide.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
It was really wild. It was
I don't believe in luck, so I think that I do think that like good things come to those who ask for it. Like it comes around, so that's really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was perfect timing.
I like that story. We should have led with that. Maybe pod producer Josh will like flip it around. He'll like flip it around and make it all work in order. So I wanna kind of get somewhat X's and O's real quick.
Okay.
So when it comes to like growth of a brand, what are some things that, and this is totally not a question, I'm so sorry,
okay.
I'm so sorry, because I'm just like, what about this? Like, where do you think, like, so maybe you can even share, you don't have to if you don't want to, but like, where do you see BIVO growing? And like what, because I'm just curious like how we can extrapolate that to other things, but like where have you seen BIVO start to grow? Because I can tell you, I know I have an avenue. I'm going to pitch you on an avenue with BIVO.
Okay, amazing.
But like where do you see like the culture, community, events, market kind of moving in the future?
Yeah.
For you at least.
So BIVO, we've been talking a lot about this overall and like how like my role will evolve and how like BIVO is going to continue to grow, because I feel like this past kind of like even 6 months, it feels like things have grown a lot. Like there was a New York Times article written about BIVO in May, and that really like blew things up for a while. And then we had a really awesome like summer of event season. So it feels like we've started to feel like a shift, like being at an event. Like it's not always just educating people on BIVO. It's like people who already love BIVO, or people bringing over friends who have BIVO. So we've been having a lot of conversations about this internally, and some of the things that we've realized that we think we're doing well and that are really important to us are things like community and being able to get out and have these in-person connections with people. We talk a lot about personal touch. So I think those are some of the main things that we're really going to try to lean into, and I think my role is going to continue to focus more on. So we want to be doing that more locally like we've done. Like we did the Bash, and then last Tuesday we did a film screening highlighting women in cycling at Cochrane. So we want to keep doing more things like that and activating within our local community. But then we do want to be able to do that beyond Vermont as well. So typically when I've been traveling for events right now, we've tried to do more than just the event itself, like go to the event, but then also visit some retailers and maybe try and connect with other brands. So we want to start hopefully acting more on that and being able to bring that community that we feel here to other places, and that other people will like feel what BIVO is and feel BIVO as a brand, and hopefully feel like aligned and connected with us as well.
Because that is I've noticed in like 2024, 2025, and definitely 2026, the brands are now a living entity more than ever. Like people, I think you have like mega brands like Nike or something like that. Like people just align, like they're like, oh yeah, like I've just worn Nike shoes. I know they fit me. Like I wear New Balance shoes. They fit me really well, so I just buy New Balance shoes. But when it comes to like Parisi, for example, right? Like I call Parisi an intimate service provider. We train largely kids, athletes to feel more confident in their sport, faster, stronger, and like that pays huge dividends to the person. So like the brand Parisi stands for something for someone, and it's really interesting when you look at product-based brands. It's kind of the flip, because it's not a service, but it's how the product implements into the activity that someone does that they love and that the product is a part of. So you do develop this sense of emotional attachment, emotional touch, and it's interesting. You kind of like say you double down, and now it's personal touch, people behind the brand, like what goes involved with it, like who and what you guys are doing with it. I think that for gyms, for trainers, bringing it full circle for the good people watching and listening, that's the mindset you probably should have is, yes, you offer a fitness service, but what is that fitness service? What does that fitness provide to the person? And then what that providing element is, that's where you want to find the adjacent, like you're saying, like hosting film screenings, like that has nothing to do with a water bottle. That is free flowing, by the way. You kind of left that. I'm going to pitch you on this later, because it's a free flowing water bottle. You really can just tilt it up. Yeah, it's gravity flow. which is why it works beautifully for cycling.
Yeah.
But you're now starting to align with different activities that come with the experience. Like, it's a cycling film, but there's a bunch of people who are coming to this that probably love cycling and love the activity, and they see the brain of the people behind it and the emotional connection. So I think a lot of times with gyms and trainers, they want to be a part of the community, but they think it's just about like the thing, like the workout. It's not. It's not. Like, even something like High Rocks, which is super crazy popular right now, it's because the gyms are now High Rocks training clubs. It's not the workout, it's the club. It's the run club, the bike club, and then the coffee and espressos and things that happen afterwards, which brings everyone together around an activity. And it's funny, like, hearing you talk about it, like, it feels like it comes so naturally. You're like, yeah, we do this, and this is what we do, and this has been the foundation, it's this and that. But for a lot of gyms, trainers, performance coaches that want that, they need to hear it and see it and experience it, because they're not there yet. They're like way back here. They're like, I want this, but at the same time, like, I'm probably just going to burpee these people to death and then send them on their way. Like, it's not about the workout. It's about the community element and the emotional side behind it. That's a random tangent. Are you ready for me to pitch you on what BIVO is elite at?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I train on a treadmill largely in the winter because I'm a total baby and I don't run outside. The BIVO water bottle is so ideal for running on a treadmill. Like, it is the people watching. Like, I have the proud owner of 2 BIVOs. This is not sponsored. Lily doesn't know I'm saying this. It is the ultimate gym water bottle, because not only is it insulated, it is gravity fed. So you literally just toss it back and it's there. Because if you're like me, gym people, and you're like huffing and puffing, you're out of breath, like, the act of like drinking and running and drinking and doing things is impossible. I ran a half marathon and I earlier this year, and I literally had I left with like maple syrup smeared all over me and like electrolytes stuck to me, because I couldn't figure out how to like sip and squirt and suck and swallow, and I was just like, like trying to run, and I couldn't do it. But I'm on the treadmill, I'm like, and it's totally fine. But I get out into real life and I'm like, oh my God, because it's the ultimate gym water bottle. So I'm gonna say BIVO Gym Avenue. You gotta go that route.
I know.
You
so
gotta
we
market
realized
it as the treadmill runners.
We realized that like so many people. So it was designed specifically for cyclists, like butt to fit and bike cages. And that one hand, you can drink it with one hand because you can't be riding your bike and like unscrewing something. So it's gravity flow. But we have realized that so many people who came to us through cycling then use it off the bike for so many different things. And so now kind of what we say is it's like a performance hydration bottle. So overall it like works. It's great for the gym. It's great for like I use mine a lot backcountry skiing, especially our insulated bottle. It's nice to have something that's not going to freeze on you. So it transitions really well off of the bike. Because just overall, it's nice to have something you can hydrate quickly and like with one hand. I'm literally not an endorsement, nothing. I'm just absolutely saying, if you run on a treadmill like your boy does, you need a BIVO because it will change the game. So that's where we go. So I want to just talk to you maybe about like a couple quick lessons that you've learned, right? So it can be like maybe something you thought was going to happen and it did. It could be something that maybe you were like, I didn't expect this, and then it caught you by surprise. It can be like a negative that turned into a positive. It can be something you had to adjust. Like, it can be anything, but do you have a couple big lessons you've learned as now a Richmondite? Welcome to the village. Thank you.
But something you've learned here with BIVO that you either want to share, that people like maybe just want to grow from, or something that you just like a general like lesson along the way that you're like, oh, this is something that I've learned.
Well, one thing to your point of it being like, you're like, oh, it's so simple, like just do like the community things and just do what you want to do. I feel like that wasn't completely my mindset going into it. Like, from past work experiences, just imagining how most companies do it, I feel like we think through something and I'm like, okay, well, like, how does it make sense for BIVO to like be in this? Or like trying to think more about it, like, okay, is this something we like sell at? Is this something like, what's the natural BIVO fit? And it's something that I feel like I've learned a lot from Robbie and Karina, that it doesn't necessarily have to be kind of like you said, like you just do something to be building community. And they're so great at it. Like you can pitch, I feel like basically any fun idea and they'll just be like, let's do it. Like we're in a meeting and one of my coworkers, Sam, was like, we should do a group float on the Winooski. And they're like, let's do a group float. It's like, that's so unrelated to like the water bottle.
Right?
Yeah, but it's important. And I'm like, watching them be so great at that, I feel like has been like what's led me to be more like, oh yeah, like why not, let's do it. Because it's so awesome. And I'm like, wow, that is so unrelated to BIVO as the product, but it is so relevant to BIVO as a brand. Like they're like one of the main motto is fuel more fun, and it's just like fun is just such a big part of the mentality, and that has been something that I feel like I've learned and have had to try to change my perception of it a little bit and be like, oh, like we can just do that
just
because
for fun.
just for the fun.
The value of core values.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
huge.
Yeah,
That's
just leaning into your core values.
Yeah.
Totally. That's been something that's been really
that might
exciting.
be the title of the pod.
Yeah.
Leaning into your core values, because I would tell most people watching this, like if you're a trainer, performance coach, you own a practice, you aspire to own a practice, like if you don't operate under your own core tenets, you would never, exactly what you're saying, like you would never find those adjacent things that that align or don't align, but build what you're talking about. That's huge. Yeah. That's super cool. And we got to talk about you because we got a couple more minutes, because this was something we got to get on. Your own experience, because you are an ultra marathoner. Yeah. And it is Moab weekend.
Yes, actually.
I believe it's tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Or
wow.
I don't know when
they
it
have
starts,
a few different ones.
Yeah.
So is it Moab 250
it's
weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah.
And
I
I believe
tune into that.
that's what you ran.
No.
Did you do Moab?
I did an ultra in Moab.
Yeah.
Not the Moab 250 though. But that one,
well, I know they do
maybe someday.
They do subsidiary
They
races.
have a bunch of different ones. So the race that I did was a 50 miler put on by the Dead Horse. It's called the Dead Horse Ultra. It's put on by Madness Events, and they have like a whole series. They do some in Moab, I think some in Crescent Butte. They have a few different locations. But yeah, 50 milers as far as I've gotten so far.
You still did 50 miles through the desert,
still
and it is Moab. And it's the Moab weekend of the big hoss, so to speak. What did it look like for you on that performance level? Because that's something like, you like cycling, you like the outdoors. I mean, it's another gear when you're like, I'm gonna go run for a day, half a day. You know, like I'm gonna go do this through the desert in a really tough. Like, what was that process of like, I'm gonna try this and then I'm gonna do it?
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like I kind of have no clue. I'm like, I don't know how that happened. I just started like a few years ago. I did a half marathon with friends, and before that, I was not a runner at all. I remember they pitched a half marathon, and I was like, absolutely not. Will I be doing that? And then eventually came around to the idea of that, and did a half, I think 3 years ago. And then the next year, ended up doing a marathon, and I feel like it's just kind of been like a natural progression. I'm just like, oh well, what's next? Yeah. And so then did the marathon the next fall, and then did the 50 miler the next, and then have been kind of just doing things within that since. Like there's a 50K in Stowe they did this summer, and then last Sunday did the main marathon. So have just kind of been sticking to things within that distance, but I am really curious of what's going to be next, because I don't think 50 miles will necessarily be the cap, but I've been trying to think through for next summer. I'm like, will it be like a longer distance of running? Will it be trying something different, like a triathlon? I currently don't know how to swim in an efficient way at all, purely recreationally. So I would do a lot of work on that.
Yeah, that's ambitious.
But yeah, we'll see what happens.
I mean, there's plenty of gravel rides.
I know, there's so many gravel rides. Yeah, gravel riding, it is humbling. I haven't spent that much time on a bike. Like, I love to bike, and I go and bike frequently, but I've never spent, like 10 hours on a bike or something.
Yeah,
so, but one of the films that we screened last Tuesday was an ultra cyclist, and I was watching it and I was like, oh my god, because running is like, you're kind of more like self-sufficient running. There are plenty of things that can go wrong, but the whole like having a bike to be concerned about too really adds a whole.
There's two on a bike, right?
Yeah, exactly.
With a bike versus running, it's just your body. body.
Yeah, exactly. It's just you and your body. I remember I had someone say to me once, like with running, that it's always just like this unremarkable feat. Like it's just one step forward. Like you can, for the most part, always take a step forward. If there's like a box jump or something like that, it can literally be too high for you to jump up onto. But with running, like that's generally never the case. Like you can always keep moving forward. Yeah, so it's like you just keep going, and I like that about running. Yeah. With biking, there are other things can go wrong. There's a lot of different factors.
I can barely ride a bike, so that sounds incredibly daunting and terrifying to me. Not the best runner, but I can put one foot in front of the other.
It seems like you're doing.
You could just put one foot in front of the other. You just keep yourself one foot.
Yeah, I always tell myself, I'm like, the time always passes. Like you always get through it eventually. So whether it depends.
I think you have to be a mental monster. You're kind of selling yourself short on that. I think 50 miles through the desert is a different beast, right? Like it's not a trail run through Cochrane's where it's like shade and views and here comes someone you can pass. It's like, no, it's a race and it's brown and there's sand and there's cactus.
The rock was really what started to get me, like this slick rock that's there. I was like, please, like especially on the downhill, I was like, please just get me on some dirt. I need to get off of these rocks.
I mean, those are real mountains too.
Yeah.
Like, no offense to Vermont, they're baby mountains compared to what's out west. So it's a different elevation game for sure.
Vermont was so great for training though, like because I was living in Waitsfield at the time, and there's just nothing flat, so you can't do a run without elevation gain. Like I pretty much would have to go to Burlington and run on the waterfront if I wanted that. So it was really perfect for training for it.
Yeah, we say flat-ish. Find something flat-ish.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you can find a stretch that's actually a downhill and just crush that.
Yeah.
Lily, thank you so much for joining and agreeing to do this. This was super useful because I think a lot of gyms, again, people watching this, like listen back to what Lily's saying about brand and community and environment and adjacent services, adjacent brands, things, because there's a lot of nuggets in here to take into your gym, your coaching practice, and really level up who you are and how you interact with your community. Because we talk about it, we want it, and in a world of performance coaching, one-on-one or even teams, it's very isolated. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of nuggets in here today about just how to be involved on a greater front. And that's a huge takeaway. I appreciate you sharing.
Of course. Thank you for having me.